What's up guys, welcome to Voicey here. This is your host, Captain Zach, and today's subreddit is r/EntitledParents. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode. This story is called, I Made Karen's Son Become Trans, She Demands Compensation. Obligatory English is not my first language, blah blah blah. Story takes place in Mexico City, so dialogue and stuff are roughly translated by yours truly. I know it's long, so apologies in advance, and thanks for letting me vent. Been a while since I wrote the last time. A bit of backstory relevant to the events. I am a transgender man, and had top surgery a little over a year ago. Yay! However, for personal and medical reasons, I decided to not go through HRT. Because of that, and the fact that my height is around 1.52 or 4'9", I am stuck being perceived as a teen or young adult. I am 35 years old. So now to the story. I was hanging out at my favorite coffee shop. I always stay in the smoking area as I am, a smoker. Anyways, law over here states that to be able to stay at a smoking area, you need to be legal age to smoke, 18 years old. Keep in mind, this law is not as harsh and strict as in other places like the US. Bit relevant though. I've been a regular at this coffee place for at least 10 years. I know most of the waiters by name. Karen enters with a kid around the age of 5 and invades 2 tables. Bit rude since smoke areas only have 6 tables, but whatever. One for her and the other one for her son, who proceeds to take out some crayons and a coloring book. I ignore all this as I am lost in the book I am reading. At some point, I do a crazy thing, such as light a smoke in a smoking area. And a few seconds later, I hear the dreaded sound of Karen clearing her throat. I ignore her and the next exchange occurs. Hey, young man, listen to me. Annoyed as hell that my reading was interrupted, I say, yeah. Don't you think it's a bit rude that you're blowing smoke all over my son? I point to the big sign on the wall that says, smoking area, 18 plus only. Do you even know how to talk? Are you intellectually disabled? Answer to me. You are too young to be smoking anyways. Whatever, lady. I proceed to take headphones out of my backpack and plug them in. Karen keeps speaking, but by the miracle of technology, I can't make out a word she says. So I figured that was all. A few minutes later, I notice some commotion around me and again hear the sound of dear Karen's banshee howls. I look up and see Karen arguing with one of the waiters and pointing at me. So of course I take off my headphones to hear what that was all about. You have to do something. He is clearly underage and blowing smoke all over my son. Don't think for a second I won't call the police on this. Ma'am, as I already told you, I don't need to ask for that young man's ID. He's been coming here for years. I don't care. I know the law and my rights. He needs to show his ID to stay in a smoking area. Kind of right, I will concede. I lost interest at this point and plugged myself back to my music. After a few futile minutes of arguing with Karen, waiter taps my shoulder. Hey man, I'm really sorry. Could you just take out your ID so this lady can move on? I take out my ID from my back pocket, which is still with my dead name, as even though changing a birth certificate is legal and relatively cheap in Mexico City, I would have to spend around 1,000 US dollars to get all my paperwork, education degrees, passport, driver's license, you get the drill, changed, and I spent most of my savings on my surgery. Okay ma'am, you can see that he's shown me valid identification. Now you have your kid out here and— Let me see that! She takes my ID from the waiter's hand. This is clearly fake. That is a woman's name. How dare you impersonate a woman? Ma'am, the ID is real and you need to give it back to him right now. No, I am calling the police right now so they can confiscate this and question him about why he is carrying a fake ID. That is a felony. Talking to me now. Now you have a lot to explain, young man. If only you could have been polite and not smoke all over my son. I'm finally losing my patience. Lady, I don't owe you an explanation, but for the sake of ending this and me going back to my book, I am a transgender man. I was born a woman, but I am not one, and my ID still has to reflect my gender identity. All settled? Good. Now give me back my ID. Karen, while her face went from normal to red in less than 3 seconds, visibly disturbed. You are a freak! How dare you stand so close to my child? You are gonna corrupt him! Now addressing the waiter. Transgender! How dare you allow transgender sexual freaks here? Mommy, what transgender means? knowing that my afternoon is already spoiled and thinking, what the hell? Let the world burn right now. I am transgender. That means I was born like a girl, but inside I always knew I was a boy. So I changed my name and how I look, and am very happy right now. This overlapped a little while I was speaking to her son. Don't talk to my child, don't even dare! Mommy, that means I could be a girl? No, I don't think the kid is trans or anything. This is actually a pretty common question when explaining little kids about trans people. Karen took her a few seconds to get out of the shock of it all. How dare you! You are evil and have just corrupted my son! I demand compensation! My child is ruined! Now, as you can imagine by then, we had a pretty small crowd watching over, which eventually got the manager's attention. What is going on out here? Ma'am, I will need to ask you to lower your voice and moderate your language. She used a choice of cuss words and offensive slang to refer to me, but I won't even dignify to reproduce them. I will talk as loud as I want. It is outrageous what happens here. Are you in charge? Yes, ma'am. I am the manager of this coffee place, and if you don't lower your voice, I will have to ask you to leave. Now, can you explain to me why you are yelling at my staff and customers? I am a member of the Family League. Family League in Mexico is a right-wing association that fights against LGBT rights in general, abortion, single moms, and yeah, everything that is not your traditional mommy, daddy, and kids family. I will have this place shut down in a heartbeat if I don't get a compensation right now. Manager being a bit sassy at this point. And exactly what should we compensate you for? That freak made my boy transgender. You allow a sexual predator to be here and corrupt young minds. And again, how does that entitle you to any compensation? I will have to pay for therapy for my son now. Maybe even ask my congregation to pray over him. That costs money. This is reckless endangerment. Those freaks should be kept away from innocent, God-fearing people. A guy customer says, "Come on, ladies, stop! You've been drumming our ears for 10 minutes now with your ignorance and transphobia. If anyone here is entitled to compensation, it's us." I agree with him, ma'am. Please leave the premises. This is not the end of things. I will have your license in no time. She grabs her kid and proceeds to leave. Waiter blocking her way. There is a small matter of the bill, ma'am, and give me the ID back. I didn't even get to drink my coffee. It is already cold. I shouldn't have to pay. That sounds like your problem. But if you want, we can call mall security in no time. Let them settle this, and in the meanwhile, also let them write a report of having your son that is clearly underage on a smoking area. Now, this kind of complaint may lead to the equivalent of CPS getting involved if mall security passes the report to the police. Karen is defeated at this point. Such a wonderful view. She threw my ID to the ground, got her kid, and started leaving. As she left, I couldn't help myself. Probably not my brightest moment, but yeah, I was mad. I yelled at her kid, "Hey, kiddo! Remember, you can be anything you want to be." Karen huffs and puffs and gives me the finger as she walks away. Okay, so greetings from magical Mexico City. Thanks for letting me vent and for reading this, and much love to all my trans folks out there. Stay strong and don't let transphobes get you. People like that are ridiculous. All he did was just inform the freaking kid that shouldn't have been there in the first place. Anyways, he just informed the kid what a trans person was. And that's what you should do. You should educate your kids on these things so that they're more accepting of people that might be different from them, because they will encounter people that are different from them. And I'd rather have my kid being very welcoming and kind to everyone, because everyone deserves a chance at being welcome for being who they feel they are. Family League, that's that's like basically the Westboro Baptist Church of Mexico City, I'm assuming. Yeah, gross. I'll also say that a happy child is a child that can express themselves openly. Now, obviously, I'm not saying let your kid do what they want, but if there's not really a harm in it, like if they want to draw a lot, let them draw. Make sure that you give them plenty of things to draw with, because art is a really great way for kids to express themselves. Or if they're interested in a sport, freaking take them to watch the sport, freaking play it with them. I don't know. I'm not a parent yet, but I am right about kids being expressive. This story is called Actor's Mom Angry That the Box Office is Not Open 45 Minutes Early. So, when I was in college, I worked at my school's theater as a seamstress. Another former grad and I decided to go to homecoming, which also had a play in the theater scheduled after the game. So we decided to stay and say hi to those that were still there as well as see the show. We had a long time to wait, so we decided just to chill in the lobby for a couple of hours waiting till the play started. About 45 minutes before the box office even opened, the entitled mother came in. Cast of characters: me, friend,
Entitled mother?
boss. That is my former boss and one of the faculty members that runs the theater. Another note is that the entitled mother has a super high-pitched voice. Think of the female version of Alvin and the Chipmunks. Entitled mother walks into the lobby and notices that the box office is obviously closed, then walks over to us just laying on the couches relaxing.
Excuse me, but when does the box office open?
As the sign states, it is not open for another 45 minutes. If you're looking for information, we might be able to help. What do you need? We used to work for the theater when we were students.
I just came to get my tickets. I reserved over the phone, but the person refused to confirm whether I got the seats I wanted.
Well, sometimes reservations take a while to go into the system, so they probably had to wait and check that it was not already reserved and the system had just not updated yet.
Well, I wanted those seats, and I better have gotten those seats.
Well, due to the small size of our theater, all of our seats have just as good of a view. So even if you did not get those specific seats, they will still be just as good. The box office is still not open, so you can either wait or come back later to check and see. Entitled mother starts getting pretty heated at this.
Well, I can't wait. I need to see it now because I'm going to a restaurant now and I do not want to lose out on my seats because I did not do the job right.
Well, we could maybe try and find Boss in the back. The box office is still not open, but maybe she can confirm your reservation? Entitled mother, pleased with this, agrees and waits for me in the lobby. Boss shows up and talks with the entitled mother and decides to save herself the headache and goes back to grab the entitled mother's tickets. Entitled mother leaves and we all laugh at the situation, thinking it was over. We were very wrong. Entitled mother comes storming in maybe 15 minutes later, and the box office is still closed. Entitled mother in an angrier, even higher pitched voice than before. Oh god, I can't.
These are not the seats I'd asked for. Where's Boss? I wanted the tickets I had reserved.
I'm sorry, might have just been a simple mistake. Boss is busy getting the show ready right now, and you can get it fixed when the box office opens.
Well, I can't wait for it to open. I still need to go to dinner. I wanted to get them early because I knew it would be full. If this continues, I'll just come back and buy the tickets with the right seats.
Well, here, let me see your tickets. I used to work house, and I can tell you where these will be. These seats are really good seats, almost up front and in the middle.
I don't want to be up front. That is not the seats I wanted. This needs to be fixed.
Well, box office is still not open and people are getting everything ready for the performance, so you'll just have to wait. Entitled mother gets even angrier, makes a groaning sound and stomps her feet like a child and storms out. Friend decided to go find Boss again to warn her about what was coming down the line. Boss quickly went into the box office, found out she just accidentally grabbed the name behind hers for the tickets, and rushed out the door to see if she could catch the entitled mother. Entitled mother was storming back right at that moment with her husband in tow, probably to try and use him to intimidate us into giving her different seats, despite the fact that we don't even work there. Boss meets up with him and in her amazingly passive-aggressive sarcastic voice says,
Here is your free tickets. We are so sorry for the inconvenience. It would have been much easier if the box office was actually open.
For actors and staff, we get 2 tickets for free for each show. So this entitled mother was putting up all this fuss over tickets she did not even pay for. Entitled mother is obviously not happy with her tone, but seems a bit put in her place. Boss brings us back inside and into her office where we all die laughing. She then gives us cake as an apology for having to deal with that when we were just trying to enjoy our visit. She then said that she would personally seat entitled mother when she came back for the show. The best part of this whole experience was when we saw entitled mother come in and sit down. Her reserved seats were all of 4 seats to the right of the mixed up ones in the same row. So her whole complaint about not wanting the front row was 1, incorrect in the first place, and 2, the exact row she wanted to be in. She was almost late for the show and came in right before they closed the doors. Man, I really want an establishment to have a no BS policy. Like if you're a normal, decent, polite person, then the staff will be like frickin' Chick-fil-A. I was about to say something inappropriate, but you get the point. But as soon as you get attitude-y, okay, minor attitude should be acceptable because, some people have rough days. But if you're like yelling at people and causing a scene or just being a jerk, like a full-on big old jerk bag, then, yeah, you'll just be like, get out right now. We're not dealing with you. I don't care if you're unhappy with our service. Get the flippity-doo-dah out. And the patrons are like, wow, they're not fake. They're genuine. They're like so nice to us because they are actually nice. But as soon as someone is mean to them, they don't take it. They're not fake. And that's how you get a loyal and steady consumer base. Because guess what? The people who'll appreciate that most are the older people, okay? Like middle-aged to, elderly. Because chances are they've grown up with mom and pop shops, okay? So they're used to real genuine people running these places. And anyone who's ever worked in a restaurant or anything, those guys will come in for their freaking food no matter freaking what. I saw this comment on iFunny earlier. It's this guy who was saying, I work at Olive Garden, and let me tell you, those old people will drive through 4 feet of snow to get their unlimited soup, salad, and breadsticks. They'll risk breaking their back for it. It's funny and true. It really is true. And you know what? I'm gonna open my own restaurant eventually to test my hypothesis. And if you don't hear from me, I probably went broke. This story's called Today I by listening to the beat of a song and not the words. Short, quick one. That's what she said. I had a female friend for a few years. We used to work together. I thought that maybe she liked me, but she would usually make it clear that we were just good friends, and I was fine with that. One day we were hanging out at lunch, and she asked me to listen to this new song she had just heard, and thought about me when she heard it. I listened and said, yeah, it's got a nice beat to it. She looked defeated, and I'm not sure why, so we just went back to lunch. The song was called I Want to Flub You by Akon, and it basically talks about wanting to have sex with someone. Yep, I'm an idiot. She must have ended up playing that song for someone else, I guess, because she was pregnant a few months later. Oh my god, she moves fast, doesn't she? Oh man. Well, that's that. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.